What is going on, everyone? Today, I'm going to be going over the form check for bench press. Bench press is a it's kind of a friend enemy of mine. I used to be able to obsess, or I used to obsess over bench. Now I'm pretty happy at 225, and I think it's just a lack of goals on my end, honestly. But I wanted to cover the form, some cues that have helped me since I've started, um, and kind of walk you through how I set up my bench press, what I'm thinking of, and how I'm breathing and bracing. Um, but before I lay down and get this thing up and off the rack, I want to address some setup issues, right? First, if you look at my bench, you can see that my headrest is pretty far up. Usually what I like to do is I like to align the bar kind of where my head would be. With that, I want to address where my head would be, which is right underneath the bar. When I lay down, my eyes looking straight up at the ceiling, I should be looking right past the bar. So my eyes should be like just past that bar, looking up at the ceiling. And then the next thing I want to address also is where my elbows would be in line with my shoulders. So usually a lot of people, they flare out and have this big wide open chest press, and they're dropping the weight. But as you can see right there, you're going to see a little bit of mobility issue because you're not getting enough drive out of your shoulders from that point. So what I want you to do is I want you to bring your elbows down below your shoulders, so they're going to be in line with the middle portion of your chest to the lower portion where the bar is actually going to be touching. So the next thing is making sure that you're bracing. And when I say brace, I mean you are squeezing your glutes, you're pressing the heels of your feet down into the ground, you're driving from your legs up, and then as the kinetic chain goes through, you're tightening up your core, so you're taking that deep breath, that deep diaphragmatic breath, and then bracing down or hunkering down. Then the next thing I want you to think about is pulling your scapula or pulling your shoulder blades back together, and then down. So you're activating your lats. So that would look something like this, where you're pulling it back and then down. And this is where you're going to end up. And I want you to be as tight as possible. So you're thinking the locked in position, super tight, and then as you're pressing, you're trying to bend the bar with your hands, and that's going to help you activate those lats. And I just keep hitting this thing, so I'm moving it out of the way. You're activating those lats by trying to bend that bar. And so now I'm going to let you see what it looks like going through those motions. So setup is generally easy. You just sit down. So now my eyes are looking straight up at the ceiling, just past the bar, and I hope that you can see that. For grip, I usually go with a thumb's length distance from the soft portion of the bar. So most bars have this knurling on it. There's a soft portion in the middle. I go a thumb's width away, or a good cue that's helped me more recently is grabbing the bar right where the knurling starts, and then I'm going one palm's width distance from that. So on the outside, I see where my palm ends, and then I'll grab it out there. Same with the other side. Grab where the knurling starts, and then I look at where the other side of my palm is at, and I'll grab out there as well. And that usually gets me to where I want to be. And where I want to be while I'm addressing that is my elbows. When I'm coming down with the bar, my elbows are straight up and down. They're vertical. And then from the front, if you would be able to see it, it would be straight up and down vertical. So I wouldn't have any flare. I wouldn't be out wide. I wouldn't be narrow like this. It would be straight up and down vertical. On this bar, that means that my fingers are the knurling ring. And so I'm coming out, and then I'm setting back for a tester. And then next, I will drive with my feet, squeeze those glutes, pinch my shoulder blades together, and then drive them down. And now I'm trying to bend the bar with my hands. And it's a creepy ice cream van. Next, I'm driving everything together, pushing it. Now I'm taking my breath. I braced, and now I'm coming down. Exhaling as I'm pressing up. And then resetting the bar. That is the breakdown of the bench. The same thing can be done with a pair of dumbbells. Although this time you're not trying to bend the bar because there is no bar to bend. But what you will have is a little bit of a change in how you grab the dumbbells or how your hands are positioned. What you're going to do is you can start off. You can either start off at the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. But you're going to have your hands or your palms facing inward towards your body, not parallel, but rather have a slight bend, have a slight curve or a slight angle in your wrists and how and where they're positioned, the direction they're facing in. Everything remains the same. Shoulders pinched, pointed down, held down, glutes braced, core braced. Deep breath. Coming down and blowing up. Down, blowing up. And this is kind of where I want to address where the bar ends up or where the dumbbells end up. And that is in the lower portion of your chest, where it goes across in line, and not to be vulgar, but in line with your nipples. If you're a man, if you're a woman, the best way to put it is making sure that it's in the lower part of your chest or where your pecs are at. But I know that some mothers have their breasts that have changed over time, so totally understandable. My wife talks to me about it quite often, and yeah, so I feel for you. But with that, I leave you. Thanks. Have a good one.